What's up, people? So, Crap Gamer is spouting his verbal diarrhea once again, and this time I actually watched the video, as painful as it was. I wasn't surprised that it was full of lies and misinformation, but right now I'm about to put that fool in his place once again, so bear with me, this video might be a little lengthy. He starts off by saying PS4 gamers are young because of the way we act, and he says PS3 was probably our first console. News to you, faggot. PS gamers have been around longer than Xbox gamers. The PS1 and the PS2 are two of the top selling consoles of all time. It's not like we just friggin' disappeared after PS2 or, you know, I mean, it's just stupid to even say that. There's young players and old players on every platform. So, end of discussion. He says, we're mad because Sony promised us infinite power on the PS3. I don't remember this. I mean, I did a Google search and I couldn't find anything regarding any type of promise of infinite power on the PS3. So I'm just going to chalk this up as just another random lie. He says PS3 didn't come with HD hookups. Last I checked, the PS3 was the console playing the Blu-ray discs, not the DVDs like the Xbox 360. And for any of you who might fall for this pathetic attempt of bashing PlayStation, I assure you that PS3 does come and always came with an HDMI hookup, as well as component hookups, a digital audio hookup, and of course the power supply. He says we're mad because Sony promised us 1080p at 120 frames per second on the PS3. Well, no they didn't. Former Sony Computer Entertainment president Ken Kutagari did state that PS3 would someday be able to run games at 120 frames per second. He never said they would be 1080p. Now, was this a lie? No, because even though it was only one game, the PS3 did in fact have a game that ran at 120 frames per second. It was in native 720p, which upscales to 1080, like most of your current Xbox One games, but unlike any X1 or 360 game, it did in fact run at 120 frames per second, and that game is indeed Super Stardust HD. So what happened? Sony didn't lie. Now, I guess we just have to wait and see if the Xbox One is capable of 4K gaming, because we all know that is something that none other than Mr. Larry Herb promised back when they were trying to build their hype train, and they said native 4K gaming as well as upscaling to 4K. So let's see how that goes. And for the record, since we're talking about PS3, I would like to address that the PS3 is vastly outselling the Xbox One in Japan at a rate of 26 to fucking 1. And it's no wonder this fool is so eager to play old games with backwards compatibility, because he's fucking stuck in the past, bringing up the 2011 PSN hack again, saying the PSN went down for over a month, he says. Nice try, idiot, but it was 21 days. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try to defend a 21-day service outage, but if you're going to talk shit about something, then you better get your facts straight, you little bitch. Now, this dude's voice was creeping me out while I was listening to him, too. I just want to say this. Like, this dude's creeping me out. Sounds like a fucking pedophile or something. And I keep waiting for him to say, like, hey, Billy, you want to come play some Xbox at my house? I got a joystick you can use. Like, he was reminding me of that Herbert the Pervert guy from Family Guy. That's what this guy sounds like to me. So anyways, he goes on to say, what happens if you take away all the indies on PS4? What are you left with? Well, to answer your question, Mr. fucking fat ass, you're left with about 12 AAA exclusives in less than 2 years, one of which is the highest rated, most critically acclaimed exclusive of this generation so far, not to mention the vast majority of superior multiplats with far more exclusive content, as well as earlier alphas and betas on the top games including Destiny, Battlefield, and Call of Duty. That's what you're left with if you take away the indies. On average, the PS4 gets a new AAA exclusive every 2 months, on average. And by exclusive, that means PlayStation only, no PC versions of our exclusive games. On top of that, we get an abundance more indie games, which just vastly increases the variety that us PlayStation Nation gamers get to choose from. And I already provided with evidence in my last video that the PS4 has far more games than Xbox One right now. It's a fact, it can't be denied, it can't be disputed. He says, Sony used indie developers to get a good rep from the media and make the console look good, since it has no games. So again, with his no games lie, I mean, this guy's so desperate to put the PS4 down, yet he has nothing better than a lie that is nothing short of 100% wrong. And this is coming from a guy who has the rare replay coming on his console, and he's excited about it. I mean, like, what a better way to fill your void of no games than letting your fans play old Xbox 360 games and a bunch of classics. And, I mean, the news of this rare replay thing was also a big letdown for many depressed Xbox fans, because they all thought that they were going to get a new Battletoads game coming due to a shirt that Fairy Phil Spencer wore back at Build. But nope, you didn't get to play the 25-year-old version of the game. So this guy literally, he didn't leave anything out in his video, okay? He mentions the Xbox One reveal and how Sony backed out of their initial plans for DRM and whatnot. The bottom line here is, if Microsoft didn't try to rape gamers, Sony never would have had the opportunity to be the heroes that they were that day. And that's a big negative for Microsoft, and it's a big positive for Sony. It was Microsoft being dumb and Sony being smart. It was Microsoft trying to take advantage of gamers and Sony catering to gamers. It's pretty fucking straightforward. I don't see how anyone can twist that into being a negative towards Sony, but he's trying, damn it. God damn it, he's trying. He bitches about the PS4 launch lineup, dissing them for launching with games like Knack and Killzone, yet I'm looking at Xbox One launch lineup with Rise and Forza. Not much better. I mean, neither console had a strong launch lineup. I think only an idiot would think otherwise, whether you're on PlayStation side or Xbox side. If you think either launch lineup was strong, then you're a fucking idiot. He says we're mad because Sony promised us 1080p 60 frames per second as a standard for this generation. Again, another lie. Sony has been pushing developers to strive for 1080-60. They never promised it as a standard to the customers. Nevertheless, there are several games that run at 1080-60 on the PS4, including, but not limited to, Resogun, The Last of Us, Ghosts, Advanced Warfare, Wolfenstein, Diablo, Blacklight Retribution, Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, Metro Redo, all the FIFA, NBA, and MLB games, Minecraft, Murdered Soul Suspect, Outlast, Plants vs. Zombies, Shadow Warrior, Sniper Elite 3, Killzone Shadows Fall multiplayer, and many more. Speaking of Killzone multiplayer, this retard thinks that Killzone runs in 720p online. Okay, this idiot is trying to say that Killzone runs in 720p online. Actually, you fucking mongoloid, it runs at native 1080p. The devs explained their methods and that it fits the definition of a native display. Now here's the answer from the developers when questioned about it. So they were asked, is Shadows Fall running at 1080p natively? Their answer was, in both single player and multiplayer, Killzone Shadows Fall outputs a full, unscaled 1080p image at up to 60 frames per second. Native is used to indicate images that are not scaled. It is native by that definition. In multiplayer mode, however, we use a technique called temporal reprojection, which combines pixels and motion vectors from multiple lower resolution frames to reconstruct a full 1080p image. So if native means that every part of the pipeline is 1080p, then the technique is not native. So basically this means that if you have some diluted personal definition of what 1080p really is, then you can possibly deny that Killzone is 1080p on multiplayer. But going by its definition, Killzone does not upscale its image, yet still produces a 1080p image, therefore it is by definition a native 1080p image, running at 60 frames per second, mind you. So this is just a little education for all you fucking idiots. He disses the light bar, reducing battery power. I mean, this is just him whining about a feature because his controller doesn't have it. He bitches about how we pay for PSN now, but we used to make fun of them for paying for it back in the 360 and PS3 era. I mean, well, you guys were paying for it while we were getting it for free, so we had every right to laugh at you back then because you were being duped. And now we're both paying for it, so it's even. So why would we laugh at you still, idiot? I mean, well, I mean, we're sort of even because, I mean, we still pay less than you do, and we get more games out of it than you do, so, I mean, technically, we could still laugh at you. You guys are still getting the worst bargain. He brags about Xbox One's monthly updates. Dude, it needed those updates, you dumb fuck. It launched with a broken user interface, and from what I hear, the party system still doesn't work as well as it did on the 360. The console is just one step forward, but its abilities and capabilities seem to be more like they're 2 steps back. I mean, the PS4 didn't need monthly updates, that's why it didn't get them. The Xbox One needed them, the PS4 didn't. It's pretty cut and dry. He goes on saying EA access and backwards compatibility are sore spots with us PlayStation gamers. I mean, we had backwards compatibility on the PS3, and guess what? No one used it. Why? Because we're too busy playing new games to care about the old ones. And the fact that Xbox fans are so excited to put their dusty old 360 games into their X1 is proof that they have nothing good to play. And provide me a logical counter-argument to that without sounding like a fucking fool. You can't. You're excited to play old games, dude. Old games. You're excited for old games. He sits on PlayStation Now. PS4 gamers shit on PlayStation Now. I mean, the service is for a very niche crowd, but for most of us, we think it sucks and is rather pointless. Why? Because we're too busy playing new games to care about renting old ones. Although, throwing down $20 and having hundreds of classic games to play without having to download or bother with discs is not exactly a bad deal. And they keep saying they make you pay for games to, you already own. They make you pay, to play games you already own and all that, blah, blah, blah. Well, I mean, where's the logic in that? If I'm going to throw down 20 bucks a month for PlayStation Now, I'm going to play a bunch of the games that I don't already own. You fucking fool. By the way, fool, what sounds like a better deal to you? 30 classics for $30 or 100 classics and growing library for $20? I mean, considering he's someone who paid more money for weaker hardware, I wouldn't be surprised if he couldn't figure this out. He says Sony showed no games at E3, blah, blah, blah. Microsoft had games. I mean, I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but he obviously didn't watch Sony's E3, or maybe he just blinked for 90 minutes, I don't know. He claims that nothing great has come out of the PS4, yet he names basically every Xbox One exclusive as if they're great games. He even listed off Scalebound, okay, as an Xbox One great exclusive. This guy's such a brainwashed and brand loyal fanboy that he loves games that aren't even out yet. And we haven't even seen gameplay footage of this game yet, but he loves it because it's on Xbox One. It's a great game, Scalebound. Fucking idiot. Let me tell you though, from my own experience, Infamous Second Son is great. The Order 1886 is great. Bloodborne is fucking amazing. Drive Club, great. I mean, the mentality... This mentally disabled moron wouldn't know a great gaming experience if it slapped him in the fucking face, okay? Now maybe if Sony had one of their many first-party studios make a game about a nice set of sweaty balls and then slap crap in his fucking dumb face with it, then maybe he would get the hint on what a great game is. Come to think of it, this dude, along with all of his brain-dead minions, are so friggin' salty that PS4 is handing Xbox One its own ass. It's almost like PlayStation Nation is all sweaty from playing all these amazing games, and we're all just dangling our nuts over the heads of these Xbots while we let our salty ball sweat drip onto them. I wonder what ball sweat tastes like in 810p. Maybe we should go ask Master Chief. Fucktard goes on and on and on. He disses Sony for not going to Gamescom. He doesn't acknowledge that Microsoft is not going to Tokyo Game Show. But here's the thing, idiot. Sony already owns the European market. They always have and they likely always will. So missing Gamescom won't hurt them at all. Microsoft, on the other hand, has zero clout in Japan. They should definitely be attending Tokyo Game Show to at least try to get some fans on board. But they aren't. So who's making the mistake here? Then again, in typical Xbot mentality, he strikes again. Sales numbers don't mean anything. Yes they do, you fucking dildo. Sales numbers represent what the customers want, what customers desire, what they prefer. You can twist that any way you want, but a 2-to-1 sales ratio is pretty damn decisive as far as what gamers choose as the best console gaming experience. He says PS4 gamers were duped by a corporation that used fancy slogans to suck people in. Greatness awaits. I hate that slogan too, okay? I even made a video about it back at a few months ago, saying that Sony should drop it because the greatness is already here. The thing is, we have more greatness coming, so, we always have stuff to look forward to, so the slogan will always be accurate. But, on the flip side, what's the Xbox One slogan? The all-in-one entertainment system. Kind of funny, because they use the same slogan for their tablets and their PCs. I mean, how many all-in-one devices do people need in their homes? And talk about being duped by a corporation, Phil Spencer said Tomb Raider is Xbox exclusive. But it's not. He fooled all of you morons, and even though every other source hinted that a PS4 version was indeed coming, you still believed him. So just wait and see when a year-old game sells better on the PS4 than it did when it was brand new on the Xbox One. And that's Mr. Spencer crushing your Tomb Raider and your Battletoad dreams, you fucking fools. At the end of this compulsive lie fest, he says, I just broke 22 million pony legs. Actually, faggot, your theory about any of us being angry is 100% false. And the fact that you have to make these hateful videos of fabricated lies and imaginary complaints is evidence that you are insecure with your console choice, and you are so butthurt that the X1 is doing half as good as the PS4 that you have dedicated a YouTube channel to do nothing but talk shit about PS4, but you're a laughingstock. You represent a dying community, and you're contributing to its death by being a bigoted asshole. But what you need to come to terms with is that there's no shame in being second best. Consider yourself roasted, you little pussy bitch. That's it for this video, guys. Been a long one. I decisively once again put Crap Gamer in his place and shut down all of his fanboy lies. I'm Vile Self. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, villains. Later.